Welcome back to another chapter of the story, My Grandma's Life. If you have missed any past chapters, just go back to my playlist. So I do have to say I misspoke in the last reading. I said I was reading chapter 2, but I was not. I was actually reading chapter 1 with an introduction. So moving on, this is chapter 2. This one is entitled The Crossing. Joseph, who is my great-grandfather, by the way, sent money from his earnings, and Juliana baked bread to supplement the support of herself and the 4 children. By 1904, Joseph was able to save enough to send money for their passage to America. They tied their sparse belongings in a sheet, a rolled-up doona, a mattress for sleeping, and took the train to Hamburg, Germany. Like tens of thousands of others over the years, they became steerage passengers on a Cunard Line ship. Ethel, the older half-sister of the others, was left to live in Sentesh with her paternal grandmother. There were no sanitary facilities in steerage, so they carried a covered pot called a bigly. When it was full, they emptied it over the rail. This was not a foolproof method, as they asked a fellow passenger to empty it, and he proceeded to throw the whole thing overboard. Each morning they were herded onto deck with all their belongings, while the crew scrubbed down the steerage compartment. The Atlantic Ocean took 2 weeks to cross, and Julia recalled she only had one dress for the trip. Many passengers were seasick, but Julia never was until they set foot on Ellis Island. It was fall and very cold weather when they arrived. Today there seems to be a rather glamorous feeling about Ellis Island, but in those days there was nothing glamorous about passing through there, except that there was great relief when it was finally behind them. There were simply 4 small souls among thousands and thousands of other poor and straggly people being herded like cattle hither and thither, questioned and examined. The medical examination was a traumatic event. Each had to pass the physical requirements, especially the test for tuberculosis. Many were sent back to Europe because they could not meet all the demands. Some people from the village of Sentesh had come earlier and sponsored Joseph when he entered the country. Now, since he was gainfully employed, he was able to act as sponsor for his wife and 3 children. At last, safely in the United States, they traveled by train with some other friends to be together in the new world with their husband and father. All ties to their former life were irretrievably broken, and they were at the mercy of their own resources, hopes, ambitions, and abilities. This new land held many possibilities and hardships. But Julia Bazzo, not yet 6 years old, born a serf, a slave, in a poor European country, made the most of these possibilities, and before her life ended, she saw the fruits of that great adventure, lived in relative ease with successful and caring children, and many loving grandchildren and great-grandchildren. Well, that was a short chapter. That was chapter 2. Stay tuned, join along if you're still interested. The next chapter is chapter 3, called Hamtramck. If you have missed any parts of this story, simply go back to my playlist titled My Grandmother's Life, and you'll be able to catch up in no time. And if you have any questions or comments, just drop them below, and I'll be sure to answer any questions you might have.